tick, tick, booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight to no more crawling, no more screw up. Who was the amnesty of aid? Now me, I'm mine. God of my chest, I'm Lord of the mind. That our government stand with the spine up, 100 men at the front line, stand 90 degrees. No fear for machine, man is supreme. We come again, till you on your knees. That I recommend that things be revealed. Don't shy at the end, cause we got no beginning but the womb. And she not from here, baby. Check the moon on the tomb or the sun. How about all of the above? Tick, 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 booyah. It's time for we booyah. Here I descend from a prodigy to other me's. Cause of them, now I gotta be solidly. And I represent right, moving left. Fool everybody but the Moors, cause we made you. Son, I'm a store too, port of the L, right? Length with height, home is the base, reach safe, bring your light. Runway the night, drew circle the 7. Don't know, better start soon. Can't keep it real when your life in the cartoon. Everything came free, but nigga, it'll cost you. Get with your nation, stay stateless. 14th Amendment, pointless to argue. Time ticks down, you're getting this cheated. Fully mistreated, though steady, just reaping. Not grown, just bleaching what's on with up runes. Wake up, tick, 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 booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight to no more crawling, no more screw up. Who was? Amnesty of aid.
Backing up frauds with cards national. In Northwest, some Ottawa's not my capital. Fez like a Merlin hat, I stay magical. Stand on your birthright square, they label you radical. Flow like libations, every day it's sabbatical. I self-law and master science mathematical. It's tragical, dramatical. This Moorish Othello, I rather black on black, I don't do black and yellow. Compass and square, fair trap, Masonic fellows and matrons. Slew them not just sodomites and pagans. Most maroons need to stop saying Jamaican and calling Euros American, they are Caucasian.
Me, I'm a 9, I try to make a 7 here. Try to make a heaven here, living in the devil's lair. Freedom is a mental clear, color is a spectrum. Don't they see through spheres? Tunnel mind is a bridge program over there. In the spell with the magi, medium. Playing good, but they really the bad guys. Reeling them, I'm reeling them. Cause I'm Moorish American, this is our land. And that's what we inherited. Tick, 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 booyah. With this writ, get flipped straight to no more crawl, no more screw ups. Who was? Yo. Yeah, it's me, Mr. L, Mr. Bro, Lord, Raw, Cal L. Apocalypse now. Watch the time tick, tick. Then tick, booyah.
Into this information a long time, but I'm gonna call my little boy over and let him explain what the star means to you. I'm not even gonna tell him anything what to say. I said, Josh, tell him, tell everybody in the house what the star means to you, or what it means as a symbol, right? And Josh like love, he's even correcting me, love, truth, freedom, and justice. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you see, just that simple little illustration, he already knows what the star means. And I'm like, do you realize that my spirit now is telling me that I've already assessed this bottle. It's good and evil mixed in one. Right. Because the liquor is what, if you, he's like, I'm telling him I can drink one, but I'm not going to drink the whole box. That's what knowledge is, because it's good and bad. It's good and bad in the bottle. And he knows it's a symbol, and he knows what the symbol means, but if you have love, truth, freedom, and justice on this bottle, plus the spirit is inside, if you go mix those two, you don't know what's going to come out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I said, that's the difference by you calling yourself black, and I'm calling myself more, and I'm confident. It's just knowing. And we're telling this guy, you know, he's like, oh, if I start learning that, my sister's gonna kick him out of the house. I said, don't worry, come to my house. Yeah. Me and Josh gonna make some time for you. Yeah. I said, we're gonna invite you to our house, and me and him gonna teach you. Yeah. I'm not even teach you. We're gonna start to enlighten you a little bit with some information. We're not gonna give you too much, but we're gonna at least read the prayer to him. Yeah, at least make Josh say the prayer, because he knows the prayer good. Right. At least say the prayer to you. And we're not gonna try to. He's like, my sister, go upstairs, get a flyer for church. Invite me. So I'm like, I won't come and talk because I'm not a preacher. But if you're serious, I can arrange for people to come and speak with your group or send information to you guys. But we're not preachers. We're not here to argue with the church or convince you that all we need to do is enlighten you guys. Right?
Right.
We're not here to fight with you because you holding on to God and all these things. That's all right. But it's just because you're misinformed, and everybody knows that. But I'm telling them, nothing that I'm telling you, I expect you to believe me.
Right.
I expect you to make a decision, and the decision is only yours. And I told him, I said, just like Marcus Garvey said, man, you black people or us black people, you're only gonna know yourself when your back is against the wall. And for some of you guys, it's when they're literally gonna drag you out.
Yeah.
Because I'm in security, so I already know about the FEMA plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you tell that there's a disaster there, and we're gonna evacuate this area. That's along the corner of your house. I said, you guys don't realize, even I'm telling them about debt pledge. I said, maybe I'm saying too much because you're not understanding, but I'm like, you don't 100% own this place.
Subconscious mind will pick it up same way.
Yeah, so I told him, I said, one day when they're gonna drag you out, I mean, maybe me and Josh here is gonna be in this territory and can come save you guys, because we're gonna be the straw for you guys to hang on to when they're dragging you down in the hole, right?
Exactly.
So I said, you know what? I'm still happy that at least I have my son and me studying.
Right.
You know what I mean? At least I'm
on it.
Yeah, we're on it. So at least you know what? You guys have a little bit of chance for us to even come to your rescue.
Yeah.
When we hear that something is happening in your area, at least we can come and raise a voice and say no. That's my mom, that's my sister, whatever. You know what I mean?
And that's where it has to be for our people.
And that's why I bring up this chat to say oh this Jewelry thing is coming up. How happy I am to even know. Happy and upset at the same time, but at the same time to see how Jewelry what it means for us. And I was saying it to maybe Morris. I was talking to on the phone, and I was saying to him, Jewelry is probably one of the greater prophet than Jesus. I'm not gonna say that anybody's greater.
Right.
They're great in the time when they came, but I'm like, he came and he told us directly that he came for us because
specific
he needed
message
most.
for us. Yeah.
And he's not even for us alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I said study. The man even gave you what to do. He told you to study.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
Yeah, he gave you everything to keep yourself firm.
Yeah.
He didn't hide anything because you know what I mean? And he told you specifically that you're in North America, and he came to you because you needed the most. And I always go back to the Holy Quran. And I'm like, it's not you know what, I should have brought a book. I saw this Muslim girl, right? I joined this new security, and she said she's Muslim, right? She's Hindi, but she's transforming over to India,
right?
Over to Muslim. Or us, her fiance is Muslim, right? But I said to her, I would like to get a hold of one of your books, because I know you guys probably have it in your temple, right? She said her sister had one, she gave it to me. But when I look at the spelling, it was spelled wrong. It wasn't spelled like our Holy Quran. It was spelled Quran. Quuaran, Quran, right?
Yeah.
So but I guess they're Pakistani Muslim. But I said, you know what? I'm going to read it still. But the reason why I got it is to just show people that our Quran is not religious. It's not a religious book. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not a religious book, and it's a science book, and it's no different. Actually, it's illustrating specifically for us.
Yeah.
Right? And then
specifically.
Again, the prophet told you that he's a universal prophet. So other people, obviously, because you know me, I was onto the Kevin Trudeau books, and every book that I read from them, I see something from the little Quran in those books.
Something.
Not everything, but a little piece, depending on what chapter you reach. I'm reading one by
little lessons.
Yeah, I'm reading one by Zig Ziglar. Cybernetics.
Yeah, we're about to go live right now. Alright, fam. Yeah.
They see what they do. They take little piece of the Quran and they add it into their stuff, right? And they make a book out of it. Nothing wrong with that, because the prophet did tell you he's a universal prophet.
He's universal, yeah. So it shouldn't even be no big deal.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
For Mars or whatever.
Yeah, so as I put my face on today and I'm putting out this thing, I'm thinking to myself, there's a power come over me like, you know what? I don't even care what people want to think.
Yeah.
It's just me, and they have to look at me now, and I don't have to look at them anymore.
Yeah.
Like some people are worried about this funny looking, and a lot of things go through my mind. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I know. I always go back to myself, and I'm like, if somebody wants to say something to me, like, what would I say? You know what I mean? But I would be like, I'm just saying, if somebody was to say, I have on this hat, what is this or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of my response. I'm like, I don't even care about what people think, because most of them probably already know and laughing at me. So it's about me, how I feel about everything. It's not about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I felt powerful, man. I'm like, sometimes when I can't come in after work, it grieves me, but I'm like, you know what? Everything happened for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's just do the prayer and then we'll continue on.
yeah.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
Islam.
To be proclaimed in every meeting. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest. The ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Before we start, quick announcement. If you didn't hear or you didn't take it in yet, there's a new movie that came out, a new Denzel movie. Roman, Israel, Roman Israel Esquire. So, one of the Moors went to go see the movie and came back with, there's a scene in the movie where they have Noble Drew Ali's picture in the movie on the man's fridge at his house, right? We already know what's up. Moors already know what's up, right? For people who haven't really looked at things how they're supposed to look at things, right? Denzel, who we put a hyphen in there. We have Denzel, and then Washington, which is Washita. So he's the perfect individual for the part, for the scene, and everything, right? The picture that they used is this one right here. This is the picture that they used, right? And I haven't seen it yet, but we're just putting it out there for Morris to go recognize that, you know, they're talking big right now. You know what I mean? If you know, we look at this whole idea of they're gonna put a movie out and all that, everything has a place. Nothing just happens to be in there just because they miss that. You know what I mean? Like, they're actually trying to say something to anybody who's willing to pay attention to what's going on. So they had the perfect individual. There was Roman Israel, again, Israel going back again to Sarah. So they're not really Israelites, they're really Saraites, right? And why would this man named Israel not have Moses on his fridge? Why wouldn't he have Ben-Amim or somebody who's dealing with that whole religious perspective on the fridge? Why would this guy named Israel, Roman Israel, of all people, Islam, have Noble Drew Ali on the fridge? Right? Yeah. Making a point to anybody who's willing to hear what is being presented. Right? And again, if our people, Negro, black, colored, whoever else, are gonna have this now as a reference point, right? Because, you know, when you look at people like Denzel or whatever, they're in their past years, right? As far as their timeline for being in movies, but right now is when they're at their peak. As they're getting older, all the accolades now mean something. Now these people are getting chosen for parts now. They don't have to go line up and go see who could get the part. They're getting the call like, we want you in it, right? So, Roman Israel Esquire, Noble Drew Ali's in the movie, right?
So does Denzel Washington know that he's a Washita?
I'm not sure if he knows.
Or we just you're just going off Washington?
Yeah, well, Washita, Washington is a corruption of Washita. Like, that's actually where they got Washington.
Okay.
From Washita.
And his name is what, Washington?
And his name is Washington.
Okay, all right.
And keep in mind, like, you know, it's that same mentality that Washington was, you know, the European whatever. You know, the European name, yeah. So that means, oh, Europeans.
Yeah.
But when you go check the history, check the coat of arms or whatever like that, you realize, oh, you're European. No wonder you could say Roman Israel. You know, as the name of this guy.
You're mixing it up.
Right? And then he's Esquire, so I already know he studied law and all that stuff. So, who's this black guy? You know, with Afro and all that stuff, which means, you know, Afro implies black power and all that stuff. Right? But he's the Esquire, and he has Noble Drew Ali on the fridge. Clearly, somebody's been playing with people, and certain people haven't been accepting that you guys are getting played. Yeah. Somebody even sent me another video of him when he went to do, I think it was Cry Freedom or some movie, that the director told him, well, if I can't get an African to play the part, I'll use you. But he's not there, you know what I mean? He was making the joke that, oh, you know what I mean? We knew that this movie was going to be whatever, so you don't have to go out and kill all the Africans so I can get the part or whatever. Now, you know, if you go back to the historical perspective, right? That's really how it went down, according to what these
people say when they bring up Moors, that the Moors did it or whatever. But then when you go to the actual over there, it's nothing Moorish. It's like the actual people who were there, like, you know, they show fezzes in the Congo or whatever, and then people say, oh yeah, those are Moors. No, those are Congolese that they put a fez on them to go pillage their own people, right? This is what they do. But when they start putting, you know, we're not talking about ancient Moors now. We're talking about modern time Moors. That it's not a figurine guy on a wall anymore. Like, this is actually the individual they have in the movie, a picture of the individual himself. You know what I mean? It's no different than even with NOI. You know, now everything that they do now, put no draw this picture up, talk about him a little bit. They should have been doing that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. There's a lot more. You know what I mean? They should have been doing that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be something that they're just starting to do right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's good, Mark? Everything good? Right? We're just talking about this one that you want to check out. Roman Israel Esquire. New movie with Denzel that just came out where they have a picture of Noble Juali in the movie.
I thought it was an old movie.
Yeah. What's good, man? All right. Yes. Right? We wanted to also talk about bring up the divine warning again today, because it's one of the more to the point messages or writings of Nolo Juali. It's one of the more specific ones, dealing with exactly what it is. And we were talking about in the last little sit down that we did with the Black Dot book. We were talking about going back and revisiting stuff. So found one of the articles, one of the initial papers that we got when they were bringing us into the information, for us to get the perspective of how we should look at, you know what I mean, the Moorish perspective and our connection to it. And we'll do that with going through the divine warning for the prophet. So this article is called The Great Conspiracy. And I think there was 2 parts to it, and I think the first part, but this is page 2 of 3. So I think the first page had who the author was, but we'll just read through this just for, and then if there's anything in here that, you know what I mean, is cloudy or whatever like that, just bring it up and we'll build on it. So with the winning of the American Revolution, the Founding Fathers in 1787 merely adopted and ratified the Articles of Confederation into law as the present free national constitution of the United States of America, a law that has never been changed, as well as declaring all men free and equal. If the Moors had not accepted the words, marks of Negro, colored, and black, but had honored their father and mother, their ancient forefathers, by name and principles, thus answering up to the constitutional standard of law in 1774, they would have received all the protections, rights, and immunities of a free national citizen and would not have to be subjected to the distinguishedly inhuman institution of perpetual slavery. But on the contrary, they strayed after the strange gods of Europe, a great sin and direct disobedience. As a result, they were ensnared into being a willing victim in a great conspiracy to keep them, the Moors in America, totally ignorant of the truth about themselves, their nationality, and their birthrights. Right? So by taking the position of being a willing victim to abuse opposed to trying to figure out how you got to the position of these people abusing you, right? You open yourself up to the abuses. Now, in Divine Warning, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. So there's names and principles that would go toward freedom or lead you in the direction of freedom, and then names of principles that are going to lead you to the perpetual slavery, right? We're at the stage of realizing that the names that we've adopted, right, put us into the, if somebody wants to get the dictionary for wardship, right, puts us in the ward status, and then the free status is left vacant. And once the free jurisdiction is left vacant, according to their perspective of who we are, what we do, or whatever, the free position is abandoned. And once it's abandoned, then anybody could come and claim it and do whatever it is that they have to do, right? So, like when we're talking in the week with your thing, right? How they're flexing is because they know that they have you in a wardship position, even though it's not chains and whatever, right? But through the paper and the signing of documents and things like that, you know, again, we abandon that position of knowing what it is, right? We took the position of assuming that because they say person, they mean human being. Because they say city, they mean government. Because they say, you know, prophet, they only mean Jesus, or, you know what I mean? There's a lot more, right? When it's a broader way that we have to look at it in order for us to, like, once we try to figure out while we're in it, we're gonna have the issues. But as soon as we step back, and take 2 steps back, 3 steps back, and we start looking at this thing from a further perspective, now more things are open to us. Opposed to if we're looking at it close, there's only certain things that we can see. Until you step back, until you step away and you realize, oh, there's 2 jurisdictions they're talking about. When they say, if they say it's jail, right? They're gonna say, we're gonna identify people by numbers, not name, right? The number is tied to the name because both of them are a corporate position. So whether they say one or the other, they're talking about the same thing, right? Where this comes in, they would try to say that, oh, so because you now adopted this new whatever, now this is going to be the number, the name, aka this. Right? Bay is not aka to anything that these people are trying to, or also known as, or formerly known as, or there's no connection whatsoever. There's a line between both of them. And what they want is us to stay on the side that they have jurisdiction over everything. Because as soon as we get on the side where we control the jurisdiction, now they don't have jurisdiction. Right?
So they don't have jurisdiction after we.
Yeah, once we come to the correct mind of how we're looking at things, and we stop looking at them like they're the government and we're just some people that are citizens of whatever, and we start looking at it at the reverse, that we're the government and we elect who we want to be whoever. If we didn't elect them, clearly they're not government. But then how did I get into this situation? Because when you check their line, there's probably some contract that brought you on their side of the border, that you shouldn't even be there. But because of the contract, and then that's why they keep going back to those things. They keep bringing up instruments. Oh, yeah, license, birth certificate, social, and they keep talking about these specific instruments all the time, only ones they deal with. They're never going to talk about judicial papers or nationality papers or nationality cards and things like that. All those things they're going to say, oh, no, we can't accept it or we don't recognize that or whatever. But the reason why they don't recognize it because it's not in their jurisdiction to recognize it. Not because they don't want to recognize it. Because if they recognize it, then it means the end of their jurisdiction. And they can't have, you know, everybody who's on parole coming up saying, I see you guys have this name here and whatever like that, you know, here's my papers that I proclaim my nationality and you know, everybody has a right to a nationality, whatever like that. If one person goes, they could play around like, we're not going to listen to this guy. But everybody comes up. As soon as these people don't do what they're supposed to do as far as, you know, their parole officer, they're supposed to be looking out for you or whatever, but they're making you late for stuff because they're coming late. They got a shift, but they're coming late, but then that's making you late. But they're still getting paid there. They're not getting docked for them being late. You're getting docked for you being late. And then on top of that, they're going to try to put whatever else in there to try to make it seem like, oh, you're the one that's the criminal or whatever.
Like I'm in the wrong.
Yeah, you're in the wrong. When these guys are the ones in the wrong. Just for the simple fact that they're foreigners and they know that they're dealing with abandonment, but they're never going to talk about that. They know that we're the Aboriginal Indigenous, we're the Washtenaw, we're not the Washingtons, right? We're the all men, we're born free and equal. That when they make that statement, they were looking at Aboriginal people and seeing how we move. For them to be able to say, hey, everybody's free, like look what those guys are doing. How are you going to say that I'm under your stuff when there's other people here that have nothing to do with your stuff and you just let them be free to do whatever? You know what I mean? Logical thinking person will say, well, I'm going to get down with these guys. Like, why am I even going to mess with the people who are claiming that they have authority when they really don't have it? Right? So, the free national name and constitution and the idea of getting yourself out is really not getting out. It's really standing for something, right? Because you have two people making a stand. You know, who has the superior stance? Is it going to be the people who aren't from here that did like this, have everybody's eyes glossy and they don't know what's going on, they're walking around like this now, right? Or is it going to be people who, every time these people do that, what you guys trying to do? That stuff's not working. It might work with all these other people around here, but it's not going to work when you try to direct that here. You know what I mean? And then in your maneuvering, like you're saying, like, you know, when you reserve your rights, they deal with you different. Automatically, they're dealing with you different. Not dealing with you normally. You know what I mean? They're either going to raise the pressure of how they've been dealing with you to make you think that, oh yeah, you're still wrong, you can't do that, or they're going to automatically yield to you. And it's you to pick up on these because, you know, when they crack the window, it's only a sliver of hair. Like they're not leaving no gap and stuff like that. Their crack is like a sliver of hair crack. You know what I mean? Like when they say the worst fracture is a hairline fracture. Because it could go anyway. You can't really heal it because you can't even see where the fracture is. But if you land wrong on that, you mess your whole stuff up. Opposed to it breaking already, and then all you do is just put on it, and then you could fix, right? Right. So then, again, so the great sin is straying after names and principles and whatever that have nothing to do with us, right? And being that being that following the great sin is direct disobedience, you make yourself a zombie. You zombify yourself, which allows these people to be able to have it so easy to manipulate our people so easy. Because the people themselves zombified themselves by being absent-minded, by not having, certain lessons. Like again, we're saying that, going back to the movie, if they have Noble Drew Ali on the fridge in a blockbuster movie, it sells 50 million or whatever like that. People better recognize who Noble Drew Ali is after that. Like they don't have no excuses after that. As far as the people who are in denial about what this is or whatever. Like they would have no excuses after that. Because, and again, it goes from the different genres, you know what I mean? So the entertainment genre, you have, like, that's the most recent one of the so-called matrix trying to convince our people that they're Moors. And our people don't want to accept it. They want to be everything else, but, you have multi-million-dollar corporation using a fez as their logo, and then it goes out over people's head. They don't even realize what's going on. You know what I mean? They put out the BIE, and then the Black Identity Extremists, FBI, whatever. And throughout the whole thing, they're talking about Moors, throughout the whole thing. Moors this and Moors that, and Moor went over here, shot somebody, Moors did it, and then they did this and that. Doesn't that mean these people recognize Moors? How come our people don't want to recognize Moors? They're choosing to recognize Moors that do BS and try to use that to make people think, you don't want to be Moors or whatever. They would never use the righteous Moors as an example when they present the Moors to people. This is one of the first times where they said, we're gonna put the Moor in the movie. Forget Moors. Forget dudes standing there with a fez on, or, you know what I mean? Some symbology or something on the wall or a picture that everybody knows is a quote-unquote Moorish picture. We're gonna use the man in the movie. The actual guy who presented all this. We're gonna use him. Right?
What movie are you talking about?
Roman Israel Esquire. Islam
J.
was.
Roman J. Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, J, right?
Yeah.
Roman J. Israel, yeah.
You know what I was thinking? Could these people be doing this to test and see how severe the dumb down is on our people, that even if they tell us, we wouldn't even know anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, and again, it's not like they don't know that it's that deep.
So even if they say, this is the guy,
This is
they
the
still
guy.
won't even see it.
The
So they
people
probably-
would more than likely still be in
They're
denial.
testing to see how how many people are waking up
Right.
fast, right?
Because they already know who's woke. They already know who's up already. You know what I mean? Like they know who the up people are. Right? This is a sign to them that hey, shout out to you guys over there who represent Noble Drew Ali or whatever, just don't sue us, just letting you know what's up. Right? Just letting you know that we know. They already know that's, Moore's gonna take that, use that, hey look, you guys put it in the movie or whatever. You guys still don't want to, alright, then it's on you at this point now. We can't even try to convince these people if they really don't want it like that. You know what I mean? Like we could do what we could do as far as getting the info, but it's gonna be for the individuals themselves to say, let me check this out. You know what I mean? How come? Because again, you're looking at, if we're saying that there's a script and all that stuff like that, okay, well these people been filming this, you know what I mean? How much times they shoot that scene how much time they shoot that scene with that picture there? Right? How long they film this movie for? You know what I mean? Why that picture? Why him? Why not anybody else in the history of black people's whatever that they decide to use him?
And even through the editing process.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that thing had to be, it's like if we shoot music video or whatever, you do it 50 takes, 100 takes, 500 takes or whatever. With this man's picture just sitting right there. And then everybody's just passing by like, oh, no, it ain't no big deal. They had Noble Jawali in the new Denzel movie, Roman J. Esquire. Had Noble Jawali's picture on the fridge. Like, if one more needs to be said, right?
So, if I don't know if I could say something with the whole zombie and
Yeah.
using your correct name or appellation, free name. So on yesterday, went to help my mother from the laundry. I was trailed by a highwayman.
Yeah.
So when I pulled up on the curb, at that point they followed the law of private property. So they went around, got the laundry. My mom drove to go to her building now, and they were waiting at a street light, right on the main road of J. As soon as they saw me, they made a quick left, U-E, followed me. So I already knew, and I point out to my mom. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you again? They love you."
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, don't worry. So I pull into her building, and then they come in, turn on the lights. I continue to go about my business. So my mother goes, "You here for him?" I'm like, "Why are you engaging him? Leave it alone."
Yeah.
"Oh, it's okay. Just finish up and we'll talk. Finish up." So they're standing beside my vehicle, and I go, "Excuse me." They back up, stands.
Yeah.
Grab the stuff, everything, like, "Oh, you're done now?" I'm like, "I'm not done, and I don't need to speak with you." So, "Okay, finish up, finish up." My brother comes down to grab the stuff, so I go, "What's up? Why are you on private property trying to engage me?" "Your plates." "What about my plates?" "Oh, it's dark. Is there a law against that?" "No." "Okay, have a nice day." Who's the owner of the vehicle?" "Why are you engaging me on private property?"
Yeah.
"The property doesn't contract with you, and I don't contract with you. Why you?" So he goes, "Well, we just want to know who the vehicle is registered to." I go, "I'm not entitled to, intervene with that." Yeah. So, they're always trying to wait to get you. Okay, and who are you, may I ask? "Why are you asking me? And why are you still engaging? You still haven't."
Private
Yeah.
property.
"Well, you were on the highway." I go, "Exactly, but you didn't stop me on the highway." But I go, "Is that Jana's highway or 401? "Well, under the Highway Act, you're citing something that doesn't apply here
Right.
in this particular
This
jurisdiction."
Jurisdiction, right.
"Oh, are we gonna go there?" So he starts packing everything, trying to get physical. So I smile and I go, "We're not gonna go anywhere. But I still need you to identify yourself and give a valid reason as to
Right.
why you're engaging me on private property." "Okay, who are you?" So I give him my appellation. "How do you spell that?" Spell it for him. "Okay." Goes in the cruiser. They spent half an hour on that alone. Come back. "So who's the owner? Are you the owner?" I go, "Yes." So he goes back again, which ties into what you're saying, because the conflict of the straw and
Right, yeah.
"Do you have an ID?" I go, "No, I don't carry ID."
Yeah.
Okay, then they go back again. So second time that they go back in the cruiser, 2 cruisers come now.
Yeah.
2 in each, so that's 6 altogether.
Oh, yeah.
So the young guy, I didn't know after all of this that I was actually talking with the constable until I got the business card.
Yeah.
So the young guy goes, "Well, you have to give a driver's license." I go, "I don't have to do anything. What law states that? I'm free to travel." "No, driving is a privilege, not a right." I go, "Really? You said the camera is on, right? And you're citing that? Is that law? What law states that?" So they go, "Oh, well, under Highway Act." I go, "Listen to what you're saying. Act." I said, "What law states that I must travel with ID or driver's license?" So again, "Oh, we're gonna go there?" So I remember from last time when they came what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? So I go, "I haven't failed to identify myself. ID and identification or identifying is two different things.
Yeah.
You have all the information. So they go again, they spend time. So now my father comes and he's, oh my God, you need to take care of this problem. There isn't a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Just relax. What's going on? What's going on? So long story short, they finally called me towards the cruiser the last minute and he goes, so how long you been living at this address? I go, 6 years. Oh, but we have a different address here on the system. So now I don't speak anymore. So you don't have any form of ID? Because I go, whatever citation you want to give me, go ahead. But they want something.
Yeah, in order to.
So at the end of the day, when they rung the plates and they got everything, they gave me a warning for driving with a suspended license, which I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
And I asked him what, he says for fines unpaid, which that's not even the case,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I go, okay. And well, you don't have to do anything with that, but it's $110, but you don't have to do anything with that. So again, I'm not even speaking.
Yeah.
And you've been really nice, so, well, now I'm going to give you a ticket for failing to give a proper ID, right? And you have 15 days to go and take care of it. And oh, if next time, if you want to do a proper name change, there's a process to
Just
go
go
about
to the
it.
court.
Right? So I just kept quiet and I go, business card. So he gives me his business card and I go, oh, Randy, thank you, Randy. Enjoy your day. And I just left.
Yeah.
Right? But they will make you think you need your ID and you must comply with whatever name that they are bringing.
Right.
And yeah, so at the end of the day, that's what he's saying is once you start to understand, which I'm still going through, then yeah, you don't have to
So where's
comply.
you find the right words to say, like you're knowledgeable about the words to say, and then, because
Because
if that was me, I would have been like nervous. But like, oh, shit.
And they read all of that too. The more, that's what he's saying. You have to, it's a spiritual thing for us.
You
You
know,
have
you
to
could
embody
mess
it.
when he asks you for where do you live, you should have messed him up by asking him, am I dead now or what?
No, he made sure he didn't ask me where he lived. He says, "What's the address?"
Mm.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
because they already know the two
As soon
names.
as they start
engage me.
engaging.
They already know. If they had said where do you live, easy. I live right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
but he knew, because like with you, the officer you met, he already remembered you. So that's why they always deal with you a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you realize that too in like Brother Yasun was talking about with one of his situations that they'll play that chest out whatever thing or whatever. As soon as they realize you know what's up and all that, all that stuff started. Oh yeah, have a nice day and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Thank you very much and all that. When right before they were about to try to violate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it really comes to knowing what it is that was brought to us, and then once we have the knowledge of what was brought to us, then we're easier to maneuver with it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like pulling teeth with them to get them to go with how it is. It's just gonna be what it is. You know what I mean? And again, like energy is gonna be talking to these people before you engage them. Once you're in that realm, you know what I mean? Once you're in that right place, because again, when you say about when he makes the statement about free national principles, right? Name, free national name, free national name and the principles that allude to slavery. There's stuff that would lead you into slavery when it comes to name and principles. And there's stuff that's going to lead you to being free. As soon as you go with the slavery principles, then you put yourself there. It's no more they violated. You know what I mean? It's we violated self. We violated ancestors. We violated Constitution. We violated whatever. Why we're going through whatever it is. Because again, like brother's saying, it should be looked at more spiritual than the national aspect. You know, the national aspect is gonna blossom when the spiritual is grounded. You know what I mean? Again, it's like we're looking at this idea with the movie. You know, so there has to be some type of code that they're trying to crack by presenting certain things, right? It's not quote unquote the establishment that allowed that picture to be in there, right? It wasn't the Zionist Jews and stuff like that let the picture slide in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't them. It had to be somebody who's really in the know of what's going on and was able to get that in there, because it's sending a message of inspiration to those who know, and those who are moving toward wanting to know, is letting them know how much people actually know. This is not just, you know, we say Noble Drew Ali and then, you know, everybody just looking at the Moors in the corner with their hands up. You know what I mean? If people look behind them, they're going to see Mexicans, Chileans, Brazilians, other people putting their hand up that they recognize Noble Drew Ali too. They go around the world, they found that there's not just Moors over here that rep Noble Drew Ali, there's Moors in Europe that rep Noble Drew Ali. That they're doing whatever they're doing over there, doing the same thing that we're doing. But, you know, where they are, it's a different jurisdiction. So it might not move the same way. Which is why even we're here, we tell Moors that, you know, don't get it twisted that we say, you know, honors to Taj and honors to R.V. Bay and all those people, and you're not studying the stuff here. Because we got stuff here that blow those people's mind. They find out about the stuff that we got here. You know what I mean? That we're in the hub of the Great Lakes. That Niagara's right over there. You know what I mean? St. Catharines, Guelph, certain places. Like, we had influence in certain places around here. Right? This wasn't just some, you know, Europeans came here and they just ruled here. You know what I mean? The same thing that happened with the colonies, with them being, you know, in a certain area and then eventually getting to where they are today. The same thing that happened out here. You know, they recognize Matthew DaCosta as the first quote-unquote black guy that was over here. They recognize that. When you go talk to the people where they're from, they tell them that he's a Moor. They don't say he's black or whatever. Right? And this is in the history books here, and all these schools out here, everybody knows Matthew DaCosta. And they know, you know, the quote-unquote Matthew DaCosta, D-E, is really D-E-Y. And it's a corruption of, D-E is a corruption of D-E-Y. Just like B-A-Y is a corruption of B-E-Y. Like, there's no such thing as B-A-Y. Like, that's a late thing. Right? There's always B-E-Y because the ones who control the ports were the Bays. So they have Bays. Thunder Bay, because there are Aboriginal people there that rule that port.
So it used to be
Hudson Bay.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
And they changed it to B-A-Y?
And it's B-A-Y now. Because again, you're dealing with this idea of the jurisdiction being created. Right? That language also creates jurisdictions. That's why he kept bringing up the act. Oh yeah, well, you know, the act or whatever like that. And he said, oh no, sorry, you can't say the act or whatever because I know that act's not really law. They try to put him in the jurisdiction and he got out of it. They said, oh, you got a license? Put him in the, oh, sorry, I don't have that. Go out of jurisdiction. And then that's the whole, you know, on the court and everybody's going back and forth. Everybody basket. And then we're trying to go on our run. We can be ahead of these people 20, 50 points. We can bring the bench on and we don't have to worry about what's going to go on. Morse can go out there and do whatever. And these people are going to be like, oh, there's a Moor. Leave that guy alone, whatever. Doesn't even matter. They're not even gonna. That's where it has to be at. That we went on a run on these people.
Up court, down court.
Right. Right? Every inbound they make, we steal and score a
Oh,
basket.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Every penalty shot we get, we score. Right? And them trying to do everything in their power to score and can't. Why? Because they're not even getting past half court. Forget getting to the goal or whatever. You guys aren't even getting past your end.
That's
Full
like,
court press, like
that's
the
like,
whole game.
That's like when you can't pass identity, you can't even touch subject yet.
Right, exactly.
So it's like you can't even pass half court.
Right.
See that basket and wish it were.
And wish you could put something in there. Right? In 1862, President Abraham Lincoln's proposed resolution constituted such elements as emancipation, nationalization, and compensation in the way of money and land. In other words, once the slave was freed, he had to proclaim his nationality by name and principle, and having done this, he was then lawfully eligible to receive the compensation of money and land. The compensation of money and land. There's two up here if you want, or the amount of money was not to exceed $100, and the land in question is known as the 3630, the Great Interior Region, which is situated between the Great Rocky Mountains on the west and the Allegheny on the east. This land includes parts of Virginia, Tennessee, all of Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota and other territories, Dakota, Nebraska, parts of Colorado. This is some of the richest land in America and is referred to in the Holy Bible as the land flowing with milk and honey. It must be remembered that at that time, 1862, this land in question was mostly unsettled, and a very large portion of it was somewhat unexplored. Also, the population of the country was relatively small, having a census of 31,443,000 for the year of 1860. Although the administration of Lincoln's had anticipated a steady flow of European migration, they had not expected the population to grow with such rapidity as there now exists. Therefore, they felt well assured that providing the free slave with the land, they too would receive many benefits. Example, cut short the war, save revenue used for the expenditure benefits, regain national authority, relieve themselves of a very heavy liability. The newly freed, destituted slave, they felt safe in giving up the uncivilized, unsettled territories. So we're going back to the thing of the whole idea of European colonization in the Americas was them having the people who were the free people think that they were the slave people. Once the slave people get into this state of they don't know who they are, they become wards. Or they're now under wardship. And once they put themselves under wardship, they abandon their freedom. Nobody ever took it from them. They chose to abandon it. And once you abandon it, then anybody else is going to come claim it. And then once they claim it, then they're going to do with it whatever it is that they see fit, because now they claimed it. And we're getting back to that place of reclaiming what it was that was lost. But it's not going to be done in, like Drew Ali said, it's going to be done without words. There's not something you're going to physically do that is going to release these people's bonds on us. It's going to be how we think that's going to do that. is going to be getting back to recognizing that our ancient foremothers and forefathers had stuff going on over here before these people came here.
Thousands a year.
So why don't we just go back to that
Yeah.
instead of going back to these modern ideals that we think is what this is about, right? You know, so Juali now. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways, right? The sinful ways which was having these names that have nothing to do with us, but we're claiming these names as our name, right? Repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. So according to Noble Juali, we're supposed to claim our own free national name and religion. Now the free national names we know is El Bey, Day, Ali, so you have that. The claiming of the religion is going back to nature worship, like our ancient foremothers and forefathers used to do.
Yeah, we are flying.
Right? The religion is astrology, cosmology, knowing the workings of the stations of the sun. Right? The religion is holistic health. The religion is things doing breathing, yoga, all these different techniques that we actually had and we used to use and exercise, which is what kept us in power. Because we were doing the things that the universe recognizes. Not some guy over here, this guy recognizes something, so we're going to follow what he did. But then he's against things universal. Then it's not even, it doesn't even make sense. Right?
Yeah, I just want to add that, like a lot of people, they'll be like, how come, just even on a dogma side, right? If you want to see, because a lot of people wouldn't comprehend religion is not dogma. Dogma is separate.
Right.
But every nation, Buddhists, they have their religion. Buddhist religion. Sheiks, they have their religion. Every culture has religion in their own culture, right? Except for our people, the so-called bad people.
Right.
Their religion is white Jesus, white God. But why is it every other nation? Chinese, they have Buddha. Indians, they have different gods in their own image. Why is our people are the only one that have white Jesus? When you say, well, the Bible says, hear of this and feed of this, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
All of a sudden it doesn't matter.
It does matter because you're dishonoring your forefathers and your foremothers. And that's the sin. That's the sin that we're talking about.
That's the sin.
Not some moral
Yeah.
beliefs of,
Yeah.
oh, well, I think this is wrong or I think this is right. No. It's like, it's not some little petty stuff. It's
Right.
it's ancient stuff. This is ancient creed and bloodline stuff. You know what I mean? This is not like some stuff you play around in the backyard or in the schoolyard. This is like,
But even if the same Bible says honor your
exactly.
Forefathers.
Either your
So-
mother and your father.
Right. And then also too, when you go back to the thing about the prophets, when we say we honor all true divine prophets, and we go into Buddhism and Muhammad and all these different prophets, take all those ones and put those ones at the side, and go back to all the different tribes of Indians or whatever that had their own prophet. Forget the prophets that the people are saying are the prophet. The native people, they had their own prophets. And then if we're Aboriginal and Indigenous people, and we have a prophet that came, you know what I mean? It's not wrong for us to have honors for this individual because we're Aboriginal and Indigenous. And just like our foremothers and forefathers, they had their own prophet in their times that they lived. Every tribe had their own prophet. There wasn't one Native Indian prophet for all the Native Americans. Every tribe had somebody in their tribe that they would say, "Oh, yeah, that's the guy for our little tribe," or whatever, right? With the resurrection of Noble Drew Ali, we're looking at that as a universal perspective, right? Not a worship perspective. Not give up Muhammad for Noble Drew Ali. Not give up Buddha for Noble Drew Ali. Not give up Haile Selassie or Malcolm X or whatever for Noble Drew Ali. See his thing as relative to whatever it is somebody else was saying. And again, as soon as you go check, you realize that, oh, they're saying the same stuff that Noble Drew Ali is saying. When you go to the Aboriginal side, right?
But I wonder why, sorry, I just wonder why though. I mean, I always thought about this, this is the one thing that made me click, is like, about Noble Drew Ali. Why is it every other prophet, not even prophet, but anybody that had some kind of claim to fame, or they're in history, they're in the history books, they're in history, somewhere. I mean, how come Noble Drew Ali, he's not anywhere? You have to find him in movie clips. You know what I mean? Or now you have people like, Nation of Islam, they're talking about him for whatever reason is. They're talking about him now, but the thing is, how come Noble Drew Ali is nowhere? Only time you hear about him is rappers, or now the movie, like you're saying, you know what I mean? Because I remember Wu-Tang, they said Noble Drew Ali, even though I didn't know about them, but now when I see now.
Now you see, what
you know
it
what I
is.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, but that's the big secret.
Yeah.
The big secret.
And that's really and truly. You know what I mean? Because when you check what he brought and what he was tying Negro black colors back into, you realize that this man wasn't, we're talking about somebody from the 1920s or whatever, teaching people about metaphysics, higher self and lower self and all that, teaching them about divine law, teaching them about Constitution, they need to read the Constitution or whatever. In the 1920s, when these people are supposed to be just off the slave ship and all that, or just off the plantation, they don't know nothing really yet, they just got emancipated, they're still boggled in their mind about, not being on the plantation anymore and all that, when everything was done for them to be free. And then we find out that, 1929, he pretty much is erased from the planet, and then 80 years later, he starts popping up again. And people start to realize that there's more to everybody's story. You go to UNIA, more to their story, because Hebrew Israelites wrote all the hymns for the UNIA. But you're never gonna, and then the Hebrews who wrote the hymns for the UNIA were talking about Allah, not Yahweh. Why are the Hebrews talking about Allah? They're supposed to be talking about Yahweh, right? Why is it that they got the Roman Israel with a prophet of Noble Drew Ali on the fridge, not Moses? If he's Israel, and they're using Israel as his name, they're making a statement that he's an Israelite. This is where they're going with it.
That's the name of the movie?
Yeah. Roman J. Israel, Esquire.
Roman J. Israel.
Right? Recent.
But if I may also interject.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I've read.
If you want, you can push that fan back there.
I've read some other parts of the Bible, and when you read the parts of the Bible, it tells you it's Old English, but a lot of us in this day and time, we don't speak Old English, neither do we comprehend Old English, and it's hard to comprehend the intent, the essence, the eminence of what the prophets were saying to those people, and if you be careful, you see even those people didn't even comprehend or didn't even want to hear
Right.
anything what the prophets were saying.
Yeah.
So when you read those things, and then after, me as an individual, like I'm coming from the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, or yeah, you know, I still identify myself as the chosen people. However, I can't sum out the words of Noble Drew Ali due to the fact that when you read the scriptures and comprehend that the people that were just not hearing, they rather do their own thing and know what is right and choose to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And when you read the words of Noble Drew Ali, just for yourself, not because somebody told you, when you read it, you actually see that all the prophets were thinking along the same mindset.
Yeah.
It don't even matter what religion they're coming from. They're all speaking of the same mindset. And unfortunately, he died the same exact way how all the prophets died in the Bible. And that ain't no coincidence.
Not at all.
You know, yes, I guess it's just people gotta try and take in things for themselves and not go off of what other people say.
Yeah, but and that's what we were talking about earlier with the whole idea of the zombification of people self-zombifying themselves. No, I made them a zombie. Like they put their hand out to get bit. And now you're complaining that they're a zombie. You shouldn't have put your hand out there. Right? And it comes back to the same thing, like what you were saying, like, you know, there's individuals that we know that are in different schools of thought that they gravitate to this info. Like they're not in denial of what this is. But then there's people who are part of the same stuff that, you know, the people who are down with this, that don't proclaim that they're Moors or whatever, that they don't even want to hear anything. Right? And you know, it always goes back to that lesson of El-Hajj when he was mad at Elijah Muhammad, but kept giving honors to Elijah Muhammad. Right? Stayed in the jurisdiction, which is how they were able to infiltrate and get people to kill him and his stuff outside of the Nation of Islam. Because he kept that connection there on some honors. When you can't tell you somebody's molesting girls, but then you say, well, honors to him because, you know, he brought me up and all that stuff. That's not, you're playing yourself. Because these people are been told them, you know, you're excommunicated and all that stuff, you had nothing to do with this or whatever, and he's talking about, oh yeah, we'll give honors to them still. Played himself.
But he knew they're gonna get him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, ultimately.
In his
you know what I mean?
interviews, he's talking to the Europeans, telling them, yeah, it's a matter of time, but for now, I'm just gonna keep on.
Just keep doing
me.
You know what I mean? Eventually,
until that time comes, then, you know, until they murder me, then, you know.
Yeah.
Like he knew what was, like, you know, all the great leaders that they murdered, assassinated. I mean, they basically, they knew their time was up.
Yeah,
they knew,
their time was up.
They knew, like, I mean.
And again, too, with all these great leaders or prophets or whatever, you know, they didn't come for people to worship them.
Exactly.
They came to give people info. You take the info, and then you go do whatever you're supposed to do with it. That's along with the principles and how it was given it to you. Like you were saying, what's your intentions? Like you were saying with when you check certain people. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you say you're a Moor. Like, what are you about? Well, you know what I mean? We got this PayPal right here. You put $500 every month. You know what I mean? We're gonna go buy some building over there, and then that's gonna be for all the Moors worldwide to come to this one building. You don't take those people serious. Like, there's no, you know, temple is the body. Anybody pushing the building, that's really where it's at. Everything's going to happen in this one place. They don't know what they're talking about. Because there has to be the reclamation by the people of recognizing this is their stuff. This is not the Grand Sheiks or Noble Jualis or whatever. This is the people stuff that they abandoned because once again they've been following people who they assumed were teaching them right, telling them right, whatever. And like the brother's saying, they never went to check for themselves to know what it is. They thought man knows by being told. They thought guy at the pulpit is how you learn stuff. And then they go home, and then, you know, the Quran's open on the bed or on the dresser or whatever like that, same page.
Psalms 19.
Right, Psalms 19, verse whatever, highlighted in there, and then that's it. And they never ever go check, they never turn the page to the other side that said the rest of it, that, oh, you know, you need to read the rest of the pages or whatever. They never read nothing. Right?
But I just want to add one thing. The one thing that I love about more science is that the prophet said, be yourself. So if your school of thought is Israelite or Kemet, you know what I mean, or whatever it is, you could still study that. Just proclaim your nationality as a Moor, right? If you, if you like to go clubbing or whatever, hey, he didn't say, all I heard the prophet say is, don't wear your fez in a bar. That's all I heard him say. He didn't say that you can't enjoy yourself and do your thing, just know who you are. And just like any other school of thought, they try to bring you in a spot where you can't do this and you can't do that, and moral this and moral that. War is not about morality, it's about law and civic and knowing your rights, that your birthrights that you're born with. And it's not about moral, right? We're born to know what's wrong and right, so we don't need to be taught that.
Exactly. People already know what's right or wrong. But if it's based not in, you know, the principles, then of course you're gonna get thrown off into other stuff that you shouldn't be in. Because the principles is what's supposed to keep you on the straight and narrow. That, you know, okay, well, it's, you know, well, I'm about to whatever. Is that love? Well, no, it's not love. Is it truth? Well, no, not really. And then you get all the way to justice or whatever, and it's none of that. Then you probably shouldn't be doing what it is that you're doing, because it's against the principles. You know what I mean? If you know, there are aspects of the principles. Like you go talk to somebody that, you know, like we were saying last week with when we went to do the outreach, and the Ahmadiyya brothers came up. They're from a different thing altogether, but they had a sign that said love. Well, you know, that's one of our principles or whatever. We're gonna come talk to you people, because that's in line with what it is that we're about. There's a common ground that we can say, okay, well, you know, we could unite on that, even though we would disagree about everything else. How come you got love on that thing? Oh, well, you know, we're all here just, you know, to bring in humanity to Islam, because we know that Islam's going to be the salvation for everybody one day. All right, well, cool. I mean, we're done with that. You know, Islam is I, self-law, and master, not what they're saying Islam is. But you know, acronym. Fine, we'll play with your ignorance for now, right? And
Can I say something? Just build on what you were saying about why drug is not like up in her face like that, right? So when I read the Holy Quran in 1784, 1774, we were coined black-colored Ethiopian for North America, which is in this jurisdiction, right? There's a reason why, because if we're going to be the products and somebody's going to benefit from that, somebody took a lot of interest to hide this man, this prophet, which is our prophet, right? So what he's bringing to us is our freedom. Even I was watching one of Kojo's video from like 2015, and he had a Skype brother saying that there was a conference in Cuba where Noble Joy attended, and he went to the library and he couldn't find the record of that. So if he said he's a universal prophet and people around the world are hiding him from everybody, which is our people, our kind, they're hiding him from us, but others know about him. So if they're going to use us as a product and benefit from us, you would kind of understand why they would try to hide it. You see what I'm saying? So like I was talking to him about the Holy Quran, it's just not a little religious book. It's not even a religious book. It's actually a guide to really answer your question.
Spirit guide.
Yeah, when you read that book, what you're trying to say, why they hide it, you will already know that they're hiding it because they don't want us to rise. And if you know how much people gonna say, let me proclaim my nationality? We're afraid of that because we think that this is some cult or dating anyways. If you read, it will come to you.
Religious stuff.
It's not religious. Like
No,
I told
I mean,
Conrad
no,
today.
that's what people think. Oh, when they
Right.
hear, they think, oh, religious, oh, these religious guys. When anybody comes to the temple or watches or even study or listen to active Moors, we're not talking about, we're talking about civics and law. We ain't talking about
Right. That little book is a powerful book, and if he wrote it, it's our prophet, and he told you that I'm your prophet that came to you because you need me the most, and he gave you this little book, this little.
little book.
Not a little book, but it's like a science book. It's not a religious book, and he told you that this is your guide. So all of the questions that you're gonna say, why did this? Why did you'll know already, right? And with Malcolm X, Malcolm X tried to go to Mecca before, and then I think Elijah Muhammad, his thing why our people gravitated to him was the thing that somebody sits time and told him that the blue-eyed guy cannot go to Mecca. There's one place on earth that the blue-eyed guy cannot go. And that was a message that Malcolm X was giving the North American blacks over here, or Moors over here, right? And they love him for that. When Malcolm X tried to go to Mecca, they didn't allow him the first time. The second time, they set it up for him to go. And yet, he had to learn the language, the dress code, everything before he could have entered, right? They rolled out the carpet for him. He saw the black and blue-eyed people there. When he came back, that was a problem for them over here.
Yeah.
When he told him that he went there and saw for himself.
Saw for himself that.
And that's one of the reasons why he was in trouble. Because now they didn't like what he was saying. Because the mommy told you that there is no place that these people can enter. That was a message to keep them dumbed down, which is we're coming into truth now, which is back to the book again. We're coming back into the truth. We're rising by not, like you said, go and see for yourself. Do it for yourself, like he did. Lawman come, you do it for yourself. Tell him. Don't ask him. Tell him. You know what I mean? I'm not that. Tell him. Just tell him in his face. Because you're rising and then Jolly come and say, study, study, study. That's just the guide.
It's also an affidavit, some chapters, like our dominion of Africa. It basically tells you our dominion from northwest to east coast, it does.
Yeah.
So
Across the globe.
Across the globe. So I mean, like the Moors with the I know with me now when I'm sending writs and stuff, I send that chapter 47 with my writ.
Yeah. You send the whole book.
If
you have to do that.
I mean, it's like, we talk about finance, the print, the fax, everything out, but at least I said that part, because to me that's stating my dominion, right? And that's law.
Which goes back again to the idea of the jurisdiction and being either in a free capacity as a living entity or being under worship. We could do that now. I know that's a little delayed a little bit.
Worship in military tenures.
A little louder.
Worship in military tenures. The right of the Lord to have custody as guardian of the body and lands of the infant heir, without any account of prophets, until he was 21 or she 16. In the suckage, the guardian was accountable for profits, and he was not the Lord, but the nearest relative to whom their inheritance could not descend. And the worship ceased at 14. In copyholds, the Lord was the guardian, but was perhaps accountable for profits. Still, Ross C, number 2, BL comment 67.
Right, so initially, the Lord would not have been some Europeans, because to have custody over a body and land of a ward would mean that there had to be a changing of places between the Lord and the ward. The Lord became the ward became the Lord. And we're going back to being again the Lord nobles and making our claim that these people don't have custody of body, right, which is personam jurisdiction, or land, which is territory jurisdiction. Right? Because we have no guardian anymore. We're responsible for ourselves. And being that we're responsible for ourselves, they can't have personam or territory jurisdiction. But just like what brother is saying, that they're always gonna bring up how to get you in the jurisdiction. And the only way that they can do that is by subject matter, or is by talking about the issue, instead of talking about the personam, the fact that, you know, the name that they have in this building called court is a European name, but the being is the Asiatic. That's an issue of jurisdiction as far as the person standing there is concerned.
So the subject matter is always the result of the persona?
The subject matter is where they would always go once they realize they don't have these.
Okay.
Right?
Like
So
what I was saying, that's why they kept saying you have ID, you have ID.
you have what, you know, or under whatever act, and then as soon as you agree, oh, you mean the act of whatever, well, you know, whatever. That now you're talking subject matter, and you waive personam jurisdiction, which is them proven, because they have to have jurisdiction over the body, jurisdiction over the subject matter, and jurisdiction over the territory in order to move forward with anything. But if they have us as wards or under wardship, then them claiming that they're the Lord has custody over the body and the land, which then gives them custody over subject matter, so they can talk about whatever it is they want to talk about, and the people just have to go with it, because you abandon the fact that they don't have personam jurisdiction. The only reason they have personam jurisdiction is because we are sinning, or we are living by the names that have nothing to do with our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So they have jurisdiction because of the person. And then because they say Canada and we don't challenge. They say province of Ontario, we don't challenge. They say city of Toronto, city of Mississauga, city of Brampton. And then we go with, oh yeah, city of Brampton, whatever. Well, now you're in territory jurisdiction. Which is not a real jurisdiction, it's artificial. Because there's no European, or there's no foreigner. There's no foreigner that can have jurisdiction over the natural people, unless the natural people are down with it. As soon as the natural people agree, and then keep in mind that when we say foreigner, right, we're looking at, when we say foreigner, we're looking at, oh, well, somebody's from all over there, so they're a foreigner or whatever, right? You know, a hangnail is foreign to a finger, right? It's in the same jurisdiction, but you're dealing with something that's not really supposed to be in that jurisdiction. And the fact that this foreign thing is there, the fact that there's a lint in your mouth that's foreign to your mouth, you know that there's a problem. So the next thing is to remove the foreigner, or remove the foreign thing.
The lint has a different purpose from their purpose.
Right? Yeah. They have their own purpose for why they set up certain things. But what's our purpose? Looking at what they set up. Because we know that, you know, the whole idea of the foreigner having jurisdiction is because they, like when we look at it even with quote unquote slavery, they had to have a king who was down with letting them get some of his captives for who he raided over there that looked just like him. Right? This is how they got the in. Because they didn't have territorial jurisdiction on the continent. They had to know somebody on the inside who was high enough to be able to, you know, make things happen so it doesn't really appear like it's our own doing it. Some European did it. And then the people who are getting it, they got 100 of them, one guy on a horse, and they're not talking about, let's rush this guy. They're just there chilling. Well, we're just gonna chill here because, you know, last night they killed whoever, they cut somebody's open, they did this, they did that. Okay, well that they killed one guy. That should be enough for you guys to jump up and say, let's rush this guy tomorrow. On every plantation should be going down like that.
It's just what's going on now. It's like when you see these highwaymen and they're arresting their brother or they're beating their brother and they kill their brother in the street, all they do is just bring out their cameras.
Right.
Where's all the bad men then with all their AK in the videos with their double barrels and their triple?
They're right there watching.
The gun club.
Yeah,
gun
exactly.
club.
Welcome people. How come you don't pull out your guns and at least bust some shots to scare them or something? Do something. Do something.
Right.
But then they want to call Moors, Moors are traitors, race traitors, whatever traitors, but you're the one there with the European name, right?
Yep.
And you're the one giving them
Violating
license,
their
and you're the one
ancestors.
kissing their ass every day, paying tax and not questioning anything they
Not
do.
question anything.
And then you want to call me a traitor because I stand up to them? Then get the hell out of here.
And like brother Jamal said, okay, if the Moors did enslave everybody, since we're Moors, we're sorry. Well, let's get over it and let's go. Let's do what we're supposed to do now. Instead of like what we're talking about, you know,
Well,
the
that's
Moors
all they
did
could
something.
say.
Okay, well we're the Moors.
That's all they could ever
Apologize
say.
for enslaving you guys.
But that's their number one
So
thing they could
let's-
say.
Let's
That's their number
unify
one
now
attack,
and try to sort out our stuff that we need to sort out.
Get out of here. Come with something new.
But
That's all they're going to say.
like Brother Emery said, if the Moors were the ones that enslaved, they have the power, so why not go?
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's just like now, some of the slaves back then, they didn't want to be liberated. Like Tubman said, yeah, we could have freed way more if they knew they were in slavery.
Yeah.
That's like now, people, because they have their little house and they have their little cars and their little jobs, they think that, oh yeah, we're free, when realistically, if they want, they could just say, oh, you owe all this tax and boom, there goes your house, there goes your car.
But even the ones in those predicaments where they're in rift with the system, same thing. When you tell them you can do this or look into this, research it, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that way. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Who are you? You're black like me.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I'm not enslaved. Free.
Right? When, you know, again too, you know, when we're looking at them, you know, that's a mindset of a war.
You know, it's, I don't know, these law books sometimes they give me nightmares, keeping it real, because I be looking at certain words, like I be using like sometimes I use black sauce 7, sometimes I use black sauce first and second, and sometimes I come here, and I read like certain words, like trying to look up the definition of letters of mark, and things like that. And then in 7th edition, I would say citizen. But the 1st and 2nd edition, I would say ship. I'm like, that's scrambling my thinking capacity, because I'm like, citizen and ship, I can't see how they go hand in hand, but then I see words like citizenship.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, this thing, we are the people, we talking about free and, oh, slavery's over and this and that, and oh, we're thankful for those Caucasians coming into wherever and no, that
Civilizing,
you know, like we're fighting the wrong fight, you know, and that little book there, the Circle 7 Quran, you know, when you read certain things and it says there's a higher and lower self and not readers, and that fight is really against that ego within, you know.
Yeah.
Like we the people gotta really acknowledge the facts. You know, Noble Ali stated, I guess, the divine truth. You know, but we gotta acknowledge those facts.
Yeah. And that's where the free mind is going to be able to be cultivated. Because once you have the truth, there ain't no going back to the lies. Why not accepting the lies once you have the truth? As soon as you embrace the fact that, you know, we're not Negro, black, colored, and you can justify how you got to that place in your frame of mind. At that point, you're qualified to, wherever you live at, have a basement, a room, or whatever like that, invite people to come over, and you start telling them about, well, how come you're not black? Qualified to do that. You don't need some degree, permission, or whatever like that to do that. That's just something standard. See somebody talking BS about they're black and all that, you got a right to say something. Especially if you know that you're not that. Whatever they decide to do, that's on them, because, you know, we know that all we're doing is just planting seeds. We know that we just throw something in the dirt and see if it sprouts. It just might. You know, and we don't know how it's going to sprout with these people, because they, you know, they're so they're so inconcrete, and then think that roses can't grow. Right? They think it's all over. They think the you know, like you're saying, you know, oh my gosh, we're so grateful that this European came and, you know what I mean, brought us this and that or whatever. Well, you know, if the European got everything from you, like, what are you talking about? European came and brought something. But it's the wardship mentality, the minority mindset that keeps them not growing, not becoming adults, children forever. Like, it's only children walk around pants falling down and stuff like that. Only children do that.
Even with the word adult, I was just looking it up. I don't know why I looked it up, but maybe I heard somebody with it already, but the word adult, in different laws, I think it's common law and civic law. I'm not sure which one it is, I'd have to look it up. Adult is a boy or infant, it says infant, 14 years old, or and a girl, they said infant of 12 years old, and in common law it's 18 and something else. So realistically, just like the word kid, and stuff like that, when you say stuff, it's a spell. Just like black, it's a spell, and then people don't understand why things don't work out for them. Like, you know, they're taught to pray for everything, and I mean, give and it shall be received, and I mean, or else you're gonna go in the lake of fire and all this judgment stuff. But it's 500 years later, or 400 years later, or whatever years later, and how come your condition hasn't changed? You've been praying like 3 times a day.
More than that.
Right, but I wanted to add, on to what Noble Jolly said, because me and Moore was talking about it, when he said, if you don't do anything, at least proclaim your nationality. Like, you know, if you don't study, or if you don't, you know what I mean, go and uplift fallen humanity, at least proclaim your nationality. Get rid of the slave name. At least do that.
Yeah.
Right, and we're saying that, I mean, I believe once you do that, then that takes away the power of the colonizers, because we are their property, and they're using us as lateral to the world of keeping their rule. Because it's like, what did you say? It's like if we gave back their name, then their name, which is a bond or tradable on the market, is useless now. They can't use that as lateral or to say leverage to say, well, give us this or do us that because we have all these slave properties. Right? And I think it's not the body, is like our signatures now is what's more powerful. They use our signatures, right? And they use any contracts that we sign with them, driver's license and stuff, they use that and they sell it on the market. So if we have our name on, even on their instruments, it's useless.
Yeah.
So people, like, we're just saying that's how powerful that was. That's a simple statement as that.
Yeah, a little thing like that. If you, and then again, he's putting it on the people.
Exactly.
I'm not making you no more. If you don't do anything else, you better declare what it is that you claim you know. Because if you're not claiming it, don't expect somebody else come claiming it. Even though, you know what I mean, like when we look at writs, we look at our paper that we did when we did the proclamation. We did that for Moors generally, right? We didn't do it for specific Moors who signed it. It's only for them, right? It's for Moors all over to use. This one right here. Right? When you published the proclamation was for Moorish Americans. Even though the witnesses of it are individuals. The individuals were working on behalf of everybody else so they can be able to make the claim. Right? So it's the people's freedom. If people want their freedom, they can have it. If they don't want their freedom, then they're going to remain wards of the states. And as we look at their activity as far as the quote-unquote corporate states, we see that they're going harder against people who don't know what they're supposed to know. If you don't know that you can exempt your child from vaccination with a little letter, not even nothing long. You might not even need a letter. People got the form on their own website who vaccinate you. They'll give you a form to be exempt. And people have no idea about that, and they're not even questioning, hey, why would they say everybody, vaccines are mandatory, but you can get it exempted?
On their own website.
On their own website. Right? Clearly there's something that's not being told to our people. Clearly our people are missing certain things. Right? So as the people get more information, then their concepts become clear. Once their concepts become clear, their perspective is more sure. Once their perspective is sure, nobody's going to fool them out of giving up anything that they got that's their property, including their body, their name, whatever else it is that we're making a claim on. Right? We're just going to deal with, we got about 10 questions in the email. And if anybody else has any questions, feel free to put those up. But the Navi Bay sent a reference, a quote-unquote slave reference from the Oxford History of the American People. The Oxford History of the American People.
That's a dictionary, correct?
It looks like a dictionary, but I think it's an actual book on, it's like an encyclopedia or something. The African slave trade. Laws against it either were not enforced or were so construed that traffic in human flesh was protected by the American flag. The British Navy was the only force seriously trying to suppress the trade. A slave ship only had to raise the proud banner of freedom to evade search and escape. Conversely, an American slaver, when sighted by the U.S. States warship, would escape by displaying a foreign flag. In 1849, for instance, the 4 American warships, which were engaged in suppressing the slave trade, spent most of their time at a temporary naval base in Cape Verde Islands, 1,000 miles from the nearest barracoon. No one thinks of catching slavers, wrote a participant, nor do I believe the officers of the squadron wish to catch them. And keep in mind, when you're talking about 1800s or whatever like that, and slavers, you're talking about Europeans, the slaves, not our people, the slaves. When you're talking about quote unquote slavery and slave story and slave history and all that. You're talking about when Moors were the ones that were ruling the seas and Europeans couldn't sail. Period. In order for Europeans to sail, they would have to pay some type of ransom to sail. They would get their ship, their crew, all their cargo taken, and would have to pay in order to even have a conversation about getting your stuff back. Forget paying to get your stuff back.
Are we still not doing the same thing some of the places?
Still going on today.
Somebody.
Right? Still going on today. And then, you know, they go to that thing of, oh yeah, they are the pirates or whatever. And then when you go research the pirates, you're talking about the Barbary powers, or the Moors who controlled the seas. And nobody could sail. If anybody, and then again, that's where passport comes from. That they needed a passport to sail in our waters. Not us need a passport to go show their homeland security people so we can go to a different country or whatever. Right?
Yeah. I just want to also add that our people, they love the slave narrative. They love being slaves. I mean, I posted some books of Europeans telling about European slaves, and like, oh, you're a traitor. See, you're denying slavery. I'm like, bro, everybody knows that we're enslaved, but nobody knows about the Europeans were slaves too.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm just putting it out there.
You know what? My mother told me last night. Like I see the Scottish and whatever they are in over there. When they first started to come to Jamaica, like Bob Marley's father, they come there looking for work. They come there like we come on farm work to work. Why we don't they think we are slave and whatever? That's how they come there.
Yeah. Who were they working for when they came here?
Yeah. They come there for
Europeans.
work, and that's why mostly men come there.
Yeah.
And that's where Bob Marley get his father with his mother like that, and many more, like even my great-grandmother too, the same thing happened. It was the men then that come to work. Britain send them down there to work.
The Irish potato.
Yeah.
But that's why the rest of the Europeans look down on certain classes of Europeans. Because those were the
slave
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. They couldn't
also
get to
doing,
anything over there, so they had to come over here
Yeah.
for work.
Also too in King Alfred plan, when they talk about the poor whites. It's the same idea. These Europeans who, you know, these are the same Europeans who would have been helping to get black people out of slavery and stuff, hiding them in the church and hiding them in coffins, shipping them whatever out of slavery and all that. These are the same people that, you know, today you have, you know, the few Europeans that grew up on the block and they're like black guys. They say nigger and all that, you know, no big deal.
Yeah.
Snow, you know what I mean? right? Snow, right? Biggest reggae artist out here is a European. And everybody racing like, yeah, that guy's the man.
It's tough, it's hard, it's tough,
Yeah. Right? You know,
But yeah,
you had a tie. Yeah, more.
You can't take away the narrative of that
The
whole
word black
victimization, right? They want to
and
stay
blank,
with.
what's the difference?
Can you answer once more, please?
Like when they say blanco or blank.
Yeah, it's all the same.
So if the Europeans actually call blanco,
Blanco, yeah.
which is blank,
Right.
how are they claiming to be black?
To be black, right. Right? Well, and again, it goes back to that thing of, you know, our people love to know by being told, not love to know by studying. You know,
If a Brazilian can call European a blanco,
a blanco.
and then you're calling yourself black. How are you? So Black Lives Matter is blank lives
Blank
matter.
lives matter.
European lives
Right.
matter.
Which is why, you know what I mean?
So now, you see, this is not something that you can learn from a book or from a school. You have to be born to, it has to be
You
natural.
have to be in tune, yeah.
This is not something that's done. We can have all the meanings we need. If we are not free from up there, it's...
Yeah. And again, which is why again we bring up, you know, the Quran and Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood and these books, you know, the spiritual, the more spiritual books, so that we can get our mind right, get our spirit right, get our vibration in the right place before we start saying we're going to exercise and be Moors and whatever. Half the people who have issues when they say all more and then they start doing stuff and get trapped up is because you weren't out more long enough. Like you just said that you're more yesterday. What do you mean you want to claim a house and stuff like that? You don't even know the 5 principles or whatever. You know what I mean? You have no idea about the basic things that, you know, an individual would need as far as, you know, lessons to change their frequency so that things could work. So it starts with you know, taking time to read that Quran. You know, don't look at it as some religious whatever book. Look at it as a spiritual enhancement book. Look at it as a mental enhancement book. Look at it as spiritual and mental training into being a better student. You know what I mean? Because you're going to open up aspects of yourself when you start taking in certain information and you start putting them in the right context, the right perspective. You would start realizing how far back we are, like you're saying with the words. You know what I mean? You start looking up stuff. When you look up, like you were saying with you know, citizens and ship and all that stuff, and then, you know, you go a little further and you realize birth is E-R-T-H, not I-R-T-H, when they say birth, which goes back to the whole thing about the ship again, and why they say citizens, and you know, why they would say, you know, Moors can't make any claims or whatever, you know, you're black and all that, because they know that Moor also means land. So if a Moor is saying I'm a Moor, then what is he really tying himself to by saying I'm a Moor? Just some card that says that? No, you're tying yourself to water, because boats get moored. You're tying yourself to land, because land is called Moor.
Which is why our ancestors said it came from the ground.
Came from the earth. And even in scriptures they tell you. You know what I mean? But you break it down like that to them, they're not even going to be receptive.
Like when you read the divine warning from the prophet, right? He even warns you that even when you become conscious now, that every spirit is the other people are putting every spirit out there to attack you. So you see in the divine warning that the prophet warned you that even when you're awake, don't think that you're good now. Yeah. Because everything is coming on you. Everything is going out there to get you back over there.
Right. You know, just like you said, even some of your good Moors' coattails is gonna get scorched. Don't think because we got fezzes on and turbans, we got it going on. Our coattails on fire too. Just like dirty Moors' coat, their whole jacket might be on fire or whatever. Right? But you know, we're getting some of the fire as well, just because of having to play catch up, having to be in this position that, you know, we should have known, but because we didn't know, you know, ignorance is no excuse. So you're about to get it just because you didn't know.
Also, you know, as the brother was talking, we were having a discussion. You don't do nothing else, claim your nationality. Within this certain circumstance, this time that we're in right now as Moors, from you starting to claim your nationality, then you're gonna realize that I gotta study more to maintain it.
Right.
You know, it's like one thing to aim for riches, but to maintain wealth.
Yeah.
It's you gotta keep on studying to maintain that wealth, because you know, a lot of times we have our own agendas, our own personal agendas, and we don't even know that there's other spirits out there that they're trying to catch you slipping. Yeah. You know, like sometimes we're just so focused on what we want to accomplish, and another entity, another spirit just ask you a question, but because you're so focused on your own personal agenda, you're not taking heed to the spirits talking, and you know, our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So, you know, Nobuju Ali said, study. You know, we have to we have to maintain our composure, regardless of whatever conflict we're battling as individuals, you know.
and everybody's going through it, and everybody knows that this is really, you know, where they're supposed to be for that salvation. So when I was coming here, I was on the train to get off at Eglinton station, and I was just there chilling or whatever like that. I had my buds in, and a European was like just standing in front of me or whatever. Just looking at me or whatever, you know, I didn't notice her. And then she said, Islam. I'm like, what? Like, excuse me? She goes, Islam, how you doing, Kudro? I'm like, what? Who are you? Well, yeah, you know, I watch YouTube and all that stuff. I seen you on YouTube. What do you mean you see it? Like, how is this even, why are you even on YouTube watching this? Oh no, you know what I mean? I know some of the Moors or whatever like that. She knows this lady, Christine. She knows Brother Raphael. You know what I mean? And I guess in their little building or whatever, she went doing research or whatever. And you know, she's saying like, yo, like, information, it's, everybody needs to know this. Like, this is a European lady. You know what I mean? Everybody should know this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense to be it makes sense to be a subject of the Moors instead of a Canadian citizen. Right? This is a European lady.
You see the Queen, England, the son, grandson.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's getting married
Yeah.
to an American.
Yeah.
An American.
Yeah.
You see the memes?
Yeah.
Think about it. Not a British girl, an American.
Yeah.
And we over here don't want to be an American.
Don't want to be American.
Not you.
Are you talking about
He hasn't seen it. He hasn't seen
Prince
him
Harry.
dancing to
Harry,
the
yeah.
Harry.
He hasn't seen it. Harry.
But now, when you give the
Butterseed
title,
and butterfly, yeah, pepper seed and all that.
what?
No, I see.
No, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
I mean, our mind. We keep giving them honors that they don't have,
Right.
and you're taking it away from you. You dishonor now when you start giving your own
Yeah,
honors to somebody
they're
else.
the prince.
Right.
And this mental slavery thing, it's not an easy thing to get out of it.
No.
I have never known
Yeah.
in my life, up to now, and I'll continue.
To not know that.
Absolutely, yeah, it's not, it's like,
Say no mental slavery.
Because
like, I don't believe in born into it, and you say, how you're born into it if you're just a child that just came out of the womb.
Right. Yeah. You're supposed to be sharp when you come out the womb. Yeah.
So I don't understand why people are claiming that someone else is holding them.
Yeah.
Then they have the devil holding them one time there's God holding them, like, there's somebody else holding them.
Yeah.
It's never them. It's always somebody else. It's never you.
Yeah.
So if it's never you, then why you keep giving your powers away to some other things that you have no knowledge of it? You're claiming God, you have no knowledge of it. You claim the devil, but yet you don't know where he is. So the whole thing is just, you're playing with yourself.
Yeah.
And children know that.
Exactly.
That's
They
what
know
I add.
more than anybody else.
Just want to add, like the more was saying about when we come into ourselves and we know, like for instance, I know more. They went to court, and whatever happened, it didn't go as how he wanted it to go. You know, he wanted to get thrown out, recognized I'm a Moor, blah, blah, blah. Like, how could they do that? I'm a Moor. And he's like getting all crazy, like, you know what I mean? Bro, you think they're just gonna just give you a pass just because you just come and say that you're Moor? They're gonna test you.
Yeah.
They're gonna see that if you're just doing it just to get off the case, or you're really doing it because you believe in, you know yourself. Thank you. Right? that you know yourself. And I mean, for me, I'm getting tested almost every day, right? Moors are getting tested all the time. It seems like two coincidences now that these things are just happening to us.
It's happening like that.
Yeah, it's like they're going to test you to see if you're going to stand in your square. They're going to test you to see if they throw in the back of a cruiser or say that they're arresting you, if you're going to still say you're a Moor. right? They're gonna test you. Don't think that just because you have your ID, your nationality card, and you wear your fez, and you know what I
That
mean.
gets you out of the.
No, they're gonna
Yeah,
test you,
Yeah.
just like anything.
You don't have your ID,
Right.
I'm gonna arrest you.
Yeah.
You're gonna kidnap me?
Yeah.
Change it now.
WakingTimesMedia.com. Make sure you check out the declassified CIA document revealing how Iraq war had zero justification. For those people who think that these so-called armies or whatever are going places to go help somebody. Helping no one. Anybody else got any questions floating around?
No,
Got
just,
questions? Feel free to put up any questions you got right now.
I wanted to remind you about the package, because I have to go somewhere.
All right, yeah. I'll get that for you.
Any questions?
I would desire to be honorary member of Canaanland. Okay, so again, with regard to what it is that we have here, coming into the Moorish movement, we realized that there was a discrepancy in what was being taught by the people who were claiming that this is, what they represent. Because of so many people not in Canaanland going to wherever they live at, looking for a Moorish Science Temple of America, finding it, going and sit down, realizing that, BS going on in there. Many people were requesting to be members of our temple, so we had opened up honorary membership for people outside of Canaanland to be honorary members, no different than, you get a UFT honorary degree or whatever just because you did a lecture there or whatever. So this is to show that people outside of here, people outside of our jurisdiction are gravitating to this to get this information, right? So know what it is that you're part of, what you belong to, is something that even others are using as a base for themselves, even though they're not physically here, right? Because they're not physically here, they're able to make certain things or have access to information that they might not be privy to where they are, because the idea is that Moorish Science Temple is some religious whatever, not a school. Right? When it's supposed to be a school, and then the religion and all that stuff comes after. That comes as you evolve in this. But ultimately, this is really for people to come here to learn information, history, law, whatever it is, for them to have a reference point of where it is they're supposed to be in their frame of mind, so that they can go out there and be able to exercise or maneuver or live or whatever it is that they're coming into this for. So for people who are interested in being honorary members, you would email Brother Amari L-Bay, A-M-A-U-R-Y, Amari L-Bay at hotmail.com, and he'll send you the membership form, and you fill out your form, and that's that. Name change info. I sent change and proclamation papers to be sealed in September. I'm now getting ready to move in a couple weeks. What do I do? I'm out here with no one to talk to about receiving my name change papers. I sent them mid-September thinking I would have received them by now. I do not know if they were ever received, if something's wrong, etc. Excuse my aggressive tone. I'm honestly upset by lack of communication amongst our people. Aside from getting my paperwork done, I'm also educating others. When they ask how long the process takes or where can I go I have no answer. The last thing I want to do is seem as though I'm speaking on empty promises. I'm looking for someone
or the establishment that I link up with to get things handled in a timely manner. An email from a real person instead of an automated message will be appreciated. So this is why there's an online class, call-in class, every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m., blogtalkradio.com/MHHS, blogtalkradio.com, MHHS Eyes Wide Open. And once you go on that blog talk site, blogtalkradio.com, MHHS Eyes Wide Open, you're going to go on there and it'll give you the call-in number and all that stuff, what to do when you call in, press 1, somebody's going to take your call and all that. So these people saying about, you know, since September, they've been leaving messages or sending emails, they never got anybody. They could have called in to the Tuesday show, which is every Tuesday at 9:30. They could have called in, guaranteed they would have pushed 1, somebody would have answered. If not that, third Thursday, Sons of Allah show is on the same channel. They could have called in, got somebody then. If not that, Sisters Standing on Law on the same channel. They could have pushed 1, got somebody. So when we hear people anxious to get their papers and get their cards and whatever like that, automatically antennas are going up because only people who have a situation want the stuff so bad. There's Moors out here who have had situations and they've been going to court and all that stuff. They just got their nationality card last week. But they've been going to court, they've been telling people they don't have jurisdiction, they've been not giving licenses, they've been doing all that stuff for the past 2-3 years, no nationality card, no papers. Right? And they've been getting through doing it that way, without the papers. So we know that by somebody, you know, taking the position of, well, you know, I've been studying or whatever like that, and, you know, I applied for the papers, and the papers are taking long. We already know that they're not listening to the shows, because on the shows, we've been explaining for the past month and a half that Mother Anita had a house fire. So because she has a house fire, ain't nothing going on if she doesn't have somewhere to rest her head at. So that process has to go through first, her find a place or whatever like that, before she even gets to the new people stuff, because the back order people stuff are still gonna haven't got dealt with yet. So and again, it goes back to the thing Noble Drawley said that, you know, Moors are gonna be coming in, right? And you're gonna need 16 secretaries because so much Moors are gonna be coming in. That's where we're at right now. But unfortunately, we only have 2, 3 secretaries, 5 secretaries or whatever. So there's gonna be a backlog. There's gonna be some type of bottleneck. But we're stressing for the people to make sure that they take the position of making sure that they study and not look for the cards and these things to be your salvation, right? They shouldn't be your salvation. We just want to close out with, you just read from right there. You just get something for this book.
So I, the prophet, I am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world, they will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the southerner for all the great misuses. But I have traveled in the south, and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life.
Okay, so during the time of Jim Crow and all that stuff, slavery in America or whatever, Noble Drew Ali traveled to the South and examined the conditions there, and came to the conclusion that, oh, it ain't no Europeans or whatever, it's our own people violating the principles that were given to them by their foremothers and forefathers that has them in the situation that they're in. Them violating the principles put them in a position of wardship. Once you're in a position of wardship, now you get taken advantage of by those citizens who have the rights to do whatever it is to people who choose not to be connected to rights. Right? When Noble Drew Ali traveled to the South, there was the statement of, when I go to the South, the Klan's going to meet me there. And you think that when I go there and you see the Ku Klux Klan, that the Klan's there to stop me or whatever, but they're there to lead me where I'm supposed to go. Right? Al-Hajj, Malcolm met with the Klan. Garvey met with the Klan. You know what I mean? Nazis were sitting in on NOI meetings and stuff like that. So clearly they know what's up. It's our people that are lost in the sauce. And again, once you start presenting this thing to them, they go back to that Jim Crow mindset and victim whatever, blame somebody instead of pointing at themselves as the ones who have gotten us in these predicaments that we're in.
And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light from the prophet.
Right? Bring us from darkness, black, into the marvelous light. Free people. Free people aren't in darkness. The idea of being ignorant does not apply to free people. Like, there's no ignorant free people. It doesn't exist in the world. All free people have supreme knowledge of themselves, knowledge of who they are, who their ancient foremothers and forefathers are, which is why they're progressive, which is why they can come here and they're selling other people's hair to sisters, and sisters are buying. And then they don't even have the mindset, well, since we consume the most hair that's not our own, we have our own shop. But it'll never happen because they're dealing with wardship. They have a wardship mentality. Why is there only food stores, record stores, and barbers on Eglinton? Wardship mentality. All this time, these 3, 4, 5 different barbers never once said, hey, how about we all put our finance together, get a big ass spot, divide it up into everybody get a chair, and then each of us aren't paying $9 grand rent. Right?
It's like Mom said, you see, from way back, before they built the Panama Canal, and also she said some of our problem, the food we are eating, is not working with our brain properly. So you would say, why they don't even see what I'm saying? Don't only blame him. The food they're eating not working out. She even mentioned about the plastic rice what they bring to Jamaica. And she also said, she remember, for the shippers to bring those things from China or wherever a long time ago, it takes so long it didn't make no profit. It wasn't getting nowhere.
Yeah.
So now, they make the kernel, which my grandfather was working on, so she knows about it. And they make the kernel, so it come faster now.
Right.
So now is when them even get worse behind.
Yeah.
Because they're waiting on the rice and the flour to come in Jamaica instead of go plant like we used to have our own shit going.
Right.
So that she was trying to tell me how far they've been breaking us into, shaping us into their thing.
Right.
Till this day.
Right.
How
Yeah.
far it's coming from. So,
Yeah, and then again, because there's always a generation before
Yeah.
that they might be able to crack the code.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to, this is why you have, like we were saying, plastic rice and all this type of stuff
Yeah.
going on right now.
Yeah.
Half these, if rice is plastic, then all these chocolate bars and all this stuff
What you
people
gonna
talking about, that's gum and all this type of stuff. What is that stuff? If rice is plastic right now, if lettuce and certain things are not real, didn't grow from the ground, right? Then what is all this other stuff that back then we knew that stuff was the fake stuff?
Good. That's what they thought.
Yeah.
So now this story now is like the sin that they're in and doing, continuing with the sinfulness, and don't realize what they're doing.
Yeah.
She said they're gonna be a famine on them down here.
Yeah.
They're just sitting up, but they're gonna starve the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And she's 83 years old, so she have a lot under her belt coming up to now.
Right. Yeah.
To when she look back and she put it all together, she see where they're heading to, and they don't even know. And you can't even talk to them, she said.
Yeah.
You can't even talk to them. They said it's modern this and modern this, and can't even talk.
Yeah.
To show them the facts of where it's
The
coming
real deal,
from.
yeah.
I just want to add about the food thing. I was just reading, everybody's on protein this and protein that, and there's a study that says that mostly all mammals that breastfeed, out of all the stuff that's in it, protein is like the least of what's in breast milk.
That is true.
That tells you, nature's telling you that protein is not a big deal. Like they're pushing, but it makes sense though, because with the animals now, they're telling you, oh, eat animals because protein. But where do animals get their protein from?
Yeah.
It's amino acids that get put together to formulate your hair, your nail, which they consider protein.
Yeah.
Right? They don't know science.
Exactly.
Right? Everyone knows they were taught the minute levels of science.
Yeah.
So because they're in control and we go to them.
Yeah.
So everything they
We're
say.
getting a minute perspective.
And on top of it, they use their genome as a test subject, not us.
Yeah.
That's why the Asians now, they use themselves. So they've been advising their people, don't go by the Caucasian explanation of you need this amount of medication.
Right.
But even the Caucasian is telling you that the way medicine works, it doesn't work the same for everybody. But again, we all want to think we're the same.
Yeah.
And when you say no, we're not, oh, you're a racist.
Yeah.
I'm a factualist. It's the truth. We're not the same.
But it makes sense though.
Yeah.
If the animals are getting their protein, getting all the stuff from the plant, why go to the middleman? Just go to the plants.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so he is strictly plant-based, right? So the doctors keep on telling me about protein, and they get me angry. Well, not really angry, but one day I stand up and I tell him, say, you eat animals, right? He say yes. I say, where does the animal eat? They eat grass, right? Exactly. I say, you getting second-hand protein, he's getting first-hand protein. Nobody tell me nothing. So from that day, nobody.
You get the first one, they get the second.
So they never bother me. Then it was one thing with his iron is low. And still, some of them still have this argument with protein up to today, but I just tell them and they just be me, right? Even the people that call themselves herbalists, I'm like, you're herbalist, what is it you telling me about protein? I say, you have a cell, it's alive, protein is it. That is part of the structure. So every cell have protein. And plus he went growing, right? So it's stunted. So I just look at these guys as I say, something missing. Something missing in the head.
Yeah, well, that, that's why they have their Hippocratic oath. Because they're hypocrites.
But I also find very interesting about when you say a word, or if any sound that comes out of your mouth, the alchemy of it and the plants are actually one and the same. This is the reason why we have problem understanding language, because they're based on the plants. And if you don't know anything about these plants, or you're not consuming them, how are you able to understand when you hear a sound, when somebody speaks? And this is the biggest problem where we have, that we're not connecting this sound, and if the plants are based on carbon, everything, and you are based on
carbon. Yeah.
So now you don't really see the connection. That's why for you to have domain over this, you have to have everything in your body that is on the ground or on the air.
If you're a more.
So now if you're disconnected, this is the reason why when you hear a word, there's no need to go look into a book. You are the book yourself, the living book, not the dead book. But if the living book can understand the sound,
the living book is
the
dead.
vibration, then you're just lost, totally gone. That's why you feel a state of inferiority, because you're lacking all this.
Right.
It's like starving your body when you're not eating the right food. Your belly full, but you didn't eat the right food, so you're still starving.
So you're still starving, yeah.
All your cells are starving for the right thing.
The 99 names of Allah is all.
And if the body run a hologram with this illusion that's going around, I mean, this metric is very...
The movie was real.
Actually, I see that now they're making foods with nanotechnology. So basically the food now, whatever chemicals they use, it's like the nanotechnology is going in your cells in your body, and it's like attacking it.
About bonding to your body,
bonding,
attacking your body,
bonding to it, attacking to it. So it's like changing your perception.
Right.
It's changing the way you see stuff, because they're like little microchips in the food, if that's what you want to say. And it's like processing the body. So it's like a lot of stuff that people love, the fast food, and a lot of stuff that, that our body craves, it's because of that.
Yeah, the nanotech.
Nanotechnology.
It's alien into your body. That's how the aliens are coming into. Our body is a vegetable full of aliens, and when you say spirit or something came over, it's the alien that's inside of you, and it comes in a form of food.
And that's what people, the cravings are, is the parasites. From meat and all that. And until you flush it out properly, you're going to have cravings.
You're going to have those cravings.
If it's candidiasis or candida, that bacteria craves a certain thing. One of them being sugar. So you're going to have sugar binges. But until you know how to rid it, you're going to have the craving.
Isn't that what we used to call the Europeans, pestilence, parasites, and it's the same thing. And who consumes sugar and how it with them. Everything, when you connect them back to them, you see now the parasite, how it came into your body.
The foreigner.
If you can't connect to it, you're in a big problem, because I don't think any amount of moles can come and protect you, because you need to protect yourself.
Straight up.
But you know what, if you walk in yourself and you're vibrating higher, those things will not attack
not even bother you.
Because your energy is so high that when they come around, they'll just have to disappear. You know, so it's walking with you and understanding, because as soon as you start to do that, you impacting and exposing to you, and they're going to start to work on themselves too.
Right.
You know?
Which is why, again, with the model of uplifting fallen humanity, of this is humanitarian. If we know this much, we're obligated to tell somebody who doesn't know.
Oh, we do.
You know what I mean? Just so that they can know. Whether they embrace it, accept it, run with it, whatever like that, is not even what it's about. It's about drop that seed in their mind. They might not get it today, but trust, 10 years later or whatever, they're going to bump into you and say, hey, remember what you told me about whatever? You Best thing I ever did.
Yeah,
Saved my life with that. You had
I
something?
was playing this game called Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas. Probably everyone, hope you guys probably know it. It's an old game, came out like in the 2000s. And then I was playing it again, I bought it on my phone because you can play it on your phone now. And I was one of the cutscenes, there's like, he's working this so-called black guy is working with a Vietnamese gang. And then he said whichever so-called black person helps us, they call him the Lucky Moor. And that's what the game says. And then also there's another one, this is a 2017 game now that I found. I even found a clip on YouTube, I didn't know someone else noticed it too. But they actually say that this guy looks Moorish. And this is the Uncharted 4 video game that just came out, you can play it, I guess.
Right.
Really season.
Oh, like the PS game.
And again too, with the whole idea of just put it with that right there. Just play it on that camera right there.
Yeah, play it.
So the speaker's right there.
I'll get in the speaker.
Might as well put it. Just plug that into everybody here.
I notice almost every time I see a movie, he's some kind of like guidance man or somebody to direct somebody, you know. Clearly he's not lost, you know. He knows himself and he's helping those who are lost to get to their destination.
Like the first Robin Hood. He's the one giving them all the technology, how to get, you know.
Same thing with Christopher Columbus, you know what I mean? Moors were riding with him. George Washington, Moors, the pictures of Moors behind him with turbans and stuff like that, talking that's a slave and all that. There's no slaves during that time wearing no turbans or whatever, you know.
Let's look at tourism right now. Anywhere you go, who's a tour guide?
Right? Never some European touring around the place. See, it's playing right now. As soon as you want to expose them, they start playing. Oh. It doesn't work right now.
Google shot it.
We're buffering right now.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, it's buffering as soon as it's time to play. The more buffering. I just put it. What was the game again? Just put it out there.
Uncharted 4.
And it's on the clip, the more clips on YouTube too?
Yeah, because the YouTube name, the video for the name is when your game drops hints that Moors were black. That's what the title of the video is.
Alright. So Moors, you can go check that. You can go check that out. Anybody else got any questions, comments before we close up? Alright. So No Juali Day. January 6, 2018, we're going to be up at Dennis Trimble Community Center, formerly known as Feminine Park Community Center, Don Mills and Eglinton, 29 St. Dennis. And after that, we're supposed to be setting up a town hall meeting. So just we'll announce when that day is. And then the town hall meeting would just be updates as to where we are, and some people had some ideas of things that they wanted to present to the body, of some things for us to do moving forward. And if you're on the email list, know that you're going to be getting your email from Amari soon with the dues reminders and everything else. And I think that's about it. Don't forget, RV Bay Publications. If you're on YouTube, Mantis Views 29, Moorish American 720, Moorish Directory. There's enough out there now, so we can get ourselves right. But again, look at what it is that we're doing here, and this is yours. So once you know that it's yours, you're gonna deal with it accordingly. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be haphazard with it. You're gonna take care of it like it's yours. You know what I mean? And it means something. Y'all get it? They're fighting you, man. They're fighting you.
have a comment I just wanna say briefly. I just wanna say much appreciated and much love to all the active Moors, all the Moors that been presenting the information truthfully, wholeheartedly, out of the 5 principles. I say that because a lot of times in the past I would hear certain information and it would come off. I wouldn't gel the information, whether my frequency wasn't raised or whatever the case may be. But in times past, I spoke with Cujo, I spoke with other brothers as well. This brother here, I reasoned with him, and those brothers have always been, regardless of whatever they have said, it was always out of love. It was always out of for the sake of I am your brother. And that's very important, because in this day and time we got to realize that we as a people, not as individuals, we as a people are going through problems. We as a people, we're suffering, and the fact is that we're doing all these, that we're going through these trials and tribulations because we're not acknowledging certain things. Take the time out now, look for yourself, and you'll see. And that's why those 5 principles are so powerful, because you hear the words all the time: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But when you start looking in those words, and you as an individual start defining those words and not put meanings on the word, you start defining those words, then those words start operating like your armor, and you go prepared and dress your mind for the weapons that you need.
Love.
I just want to also add one thing. Right now is a full moon, and like I know for me, I heard actually that like we're talking about cleansing, cleansing your spirit and cleansing your physical body. It's a good time to do it now, because the full moon enhances whatever you're trying to manifest. So for me, I made some washout herb tea. I wait till the full moon, so because I was told by the person that sold to me, wait till the full moon to boil it, because it'll get more potent. So I'm like,
That's true, because that's the time so you can charge your crystals
and your stones and stuff. Right. So I'm just making it aware out there, because I just realized 2 days ago that it's a full moon. I better start getting my stuff.
Rushing to get everything lined up.
Last night my sister called me maybe 9, 10. Look outside, man, the moon is out there. Because the winter coming now, and the clouds sometimes we don't get to see. But she called me attention. She's in Georgia, and she said, look out, bro, it's out there, man. My God is out there, look. I know you brought it up today. She told me last night, look outside, bro. My God is out there. Never mind who they're chasing for, God. Man, it's out there shining down on me now. So beautiful. It's big. It's full. And she was just going on.
Straight. You ready now?
Yeah.
No name. This guy's getup looks Moorish.
His getup, man.
He's just talking about what he's wearing.
What's his getup? What's he wearing?
Turban.
Yeah, he has a turban.
He has a turban on and all that?
Yeah, look like a Rasta, his turban and his beard.
Right?
And one more thing I have
his getup looks Moorish.
You could read this. Booster Juice wasn't trying to give us tax off. So I called their headquarters.
Booster Juice?
Booster Juice.
Yeah.
Have a free smoothie. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. It was very valuable feedback. You are correct that our location should be accepting the tax exempt cards, and I have brought this up to our franchise partner so that he can correct this issue with all the staff. Here is your coupon to present for a free 710 milliliter. Enjoy your free smoothie. Regards, the Booster Juice team. Right? There it is.
Yeah, that's hard.
And again, that also goes too with, you know, even if you buy a blender and it's too loud or whatever, don't worry about go back to the store taking stuff back. Just call the manufacturer and complain on them.
Oh yeah.
And let them send you something in mail for free.
Oh yeah.
Just because customers number one, right? Especially if it's, you know, things like that. They don't want to accept certain things. They don't want to do
And
whatever.
it goes back to when you said, don't worry about the card you don't have, because he don't have a card.
Yeah, yeah.
He don't have a card.
And getting it done.
He have it in his head who he
Sound
is.
the
And he's
brain.
telling them who I am.
Perfect
And they're
example.
like apologizing, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
you're free 710 milliliters. You know, smoothie on us.
Check yours.
Straight, smoothie on us. Yeah, this is 1.5 liters, so he's getting a little less than this, but he's getting it in. So yeah, so we'll close out with the prayer, and if anybody has any questions.
He's been going hard. Let's go hard.
Yeah.
Get the wire
Check it out.
Yeah, yo, so let's just rise and close out. If you need any anything, we got some more papers over here. I think there's a few flyers lying around still if anybody needs to pick up any. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Whose holy prophet.
Whose holy prophet.
Noble Jew Ali.
Noble Jew Ali.
Islam.
Islam.
Ashe.
Amen.
Roots. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisition. See me, give me what you want. See me, give me what you want. Roots break through your inquisitions. Moorish I am to the last breath of me. I'm never worried cause my prince hold the legacy. Full life status I'll forever be. Paint a perfect picture, frame the MSTA. For the works uplifting humanity I pray and you say sin. Save from the blasphemy. Man dying on the cross, you brave be asking me. Sign on the dotted line to upkeep your fallacy. We coming with the eyes wide open. Listen to the message Drew Ali told them. The vanguard coming through the fold'em. Stand strong army, assume your positions. We're coming for the kill, my law inquisitions. Cause it's boom bye bye in the tip wide head. I said it's no remorse cause them plant off for dead. Straight shots blasting, active not passive. Breaking bread with the loyal till blood shed on the soil. I'm asking, who's now ready for the war? Knocking at your front door. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want. See me, give me what you want. Building up a nation, no hesitation. Claiming our stance, moving out the plantations. My foot plant, northwest in the Mexum. Raw when I chant, revamp T-Rexum. Heart in the middle, chakra, balance. Hard, more metal. Iron on the map, fall back, don't giggle. You might miss the point, red dot in the middle. Don't cry me a river. Drew Ali is the giver of salvation. Learn your books, don't quiver. Head sight up, knowledge, birthright bigger. Bigger than you thought, huh? Remember the ancestors who fought. Remember Haiti revolt. Remember the ones still caught in the Willie Lynch syndrome. Claiming our dome from our home is the temple. Enlightenment, entitlement, Aquarian info. They think that I've been po. I'm food for their market. Reincarnation, the Jews never lost it. I mastered it. Time for reveal. Circle 7 seal. Simply give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Yo, who this? I try to tell me rights get left back. This them I try this. I tell me if you accept that. Who give the long talk? Who own the land, yo. Who take the chrome and put it in the hands of these weak mind men? Measurement to man's awareness. Take a Euro man faces God. They go to frame it, they play with an amen. Lock up and set back, these blocks are a racetrack. Who trying to take back rights? Sounds for the mic and the spotlight. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice be the insights. I'm trying to take flight for the vultures trying to get me. Wanna sail out tonight, if you bout it, ride with me. Deserve to see the world, so I'ma take it. Chances for divine transformation, I pay it. Forward for the ones who didn't make it. I'm coming for the taking, the taking, taking. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want. Break it through. 1, 2.